How could someone like him be expected to forgive and forget, given what had happened to him? Truly terrible things happen to people. It's no wonder they're out for revenge. Under such conditions, vengeance seems a moral necessity. How can it be distinguished from the demand for justice? After all, after the experience of terrible atrocity, isn't forgiveness just cowardice or lack of willpower? Such questions torment me. But people emerge from terrible pasts to do good and not evil, although such an accomplishment can seem superhuman. I have met people who managed to do it. I know a man, a great artist, who emerged from just such a school as the one described by Panzram. Only this man was thrown into it as an innocent 5-year-old, fresh from a long stretch in the hospital, where he had suffered measles, mumps, and chicken pox simultaneously. Incapable of speaking the language of the school, deliberately isolated from his family, abused, starved, and otherwise tormented, he emerged an angry, broken young man. He hurt himself badly in the aftermath with drugs and alcohol and other forms of self-destructive behavior. He detested everyone, God, himself, and blind fate included. But he put an end to all of that. He stopped drinking. He stopped hating, although it still emerges in flashes. He revitalized the artistic culture of his native tradition and trained young men to continue in his footsteps. He produced a 50-foot totem pole memorializing the events of his life, and a canoe 40 feet long from a single log, of a kind rarely, if ever, produced now. He brought his family together and held a great potlatch with 16 hours of dancing and hundreds of people in attendance to express his grief and make peace with the past. He decided to be a good person, and then he did the impossible things required to live that way. I had a client who did not have good parents. Her mother died when she was very young. Her grandmother, who raised her, was a harridan, bitter and over-concerned with appearances. She mistreated her granddaughter, punishing her for her virtues, creativity, sensitivity, intelligence, unable to resist acting out her resentment for an admittedly hard life on her granddaughter. She had a better relationship with her father, but he was an addict who died badly while she cared for him. My client had a son. She perpetuated none of this with him. He grew up truthful and independent and hardworking and smart. Instead of widening the tear in the cultural fabric she inherited and transmitting it, she sewed it up. She rejected the sins of her forefathers. Such things can be done. Nietzsche wrote these words: "Distress, whether psychic, physical, or intellectual, need not at all produce nihilism. That is, the radical rejection of value, meaning, and desirability. Such distress always permits a variety of interpretations." What Nietzsche meant was this: people who experience evil may certainly desire to perpetuate it, to pay it forward. But it is also possible to learn good by experiencing evil. A bullied boy can mimic his tormentors, but he can also learn from his own abuse that it is wrong to push people around and make their lives miserable. Someone tormented by her mother can learn from her terrible experiences how important it is to be a good parent. Many, perhaps even most, of the adults who abuse children were abused themselves as children. However, the majority of people who were abused as children do not abuse their own children. This is a well-established fact, which can be demonstrated simply, arithmetically, in this way. If one parent abused 3 children, and each of those children had 3 children, and so on, then there would be 3 abusers in the first generation, 9 the second, 27 the third, 81 the fourth, and so on, exponentially. After 20 generations, more than 10 billion would have suffered childhood abuse. More people than currently inhabit the planet. But instead, abuse disappears across generations. People constrain its spread. That's a testament to the genuine dominance of good over evil in the human heart.